Hey guys, Antonio here, coming to you from my home office in Wisconsin. And I've been working on the style system August 2012. I'm about to launch this. But as I was going through, I thought, I could do a quick video on color and walk you guys through my ebook. And for those of you that are on the style system early bird list, you actually get a copy of this 41-page ebook on color. And I can tell you there's not much out there when it comes to color for men. Well, I mean, there's one book, but yeah, the ebook we put together is much better. It's 30 years younger than that book I just showed you. So let me go ahead and start off the video in the regular way. As I always say, guys, if you would please subscribe to my channel. You know why I ask you to do that, so these videos come right to you. In addition, if you like this video, if you find it useful, I would appreciate it if you would click on the like button. Okay, so what is the goal of this video? Well, I want to create in you a hunger to learn more about color. This is an intro video. I would say color in itself could easily be a college course. And in fact, there are many of you guys out there that are designers that have taken entire courses on color. So this presentation, it's based off of a 41-page ebook, which I'm going to be walking you through. And it's part of my style system. And you can get it for free, actually, if you're on my early bird list. So a quick overview of what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about why you should care about color, understanding your colors. We're going to talk, and I'm going to give you an introduction to traditional men's colors, understanding color relationships, understanding patterns and textures, putting it all together, examples from film. And I would like to thank Corey Burchell. She actually just worked on, she's an image consultant up in Canada, and she just worked on the latest movie with Colin Farrell, Total Recall, the remake. And so she's going to be helping me bring in some great examples here. And really quick, we're also going to talk about the energy and personality associated with certain colors. Okay, so with that, let me go ahead and go right to the ebook. So this is A Man's Guide to Color. And I'm sorry, I know my picture here is going to block off part of this, but I'll try to keep that in mind. Here's what we just covered. And first, why care about color? Well, the first reason I talk about is understanding that color, you're not going to make obvious mistakes. So whenever you make a mistake with color, it is obvious to the world. Unfortunately, close to 10% of men are colorblind. So, that's something that for those of you that are colorblind, I've got an article over at Real Men, Real Style you can check out, but you need to have systems in place so that you're not making common mistakes. Reason number 2, color lets you guide people's eyes. So if you know how to use color, like when I'm looking at this picture here of this gentleman, I'm drawn to the red, not necessarily the softer colors around it, but to that red right on his chest, kind of like a robin. I don't know, here in Wisconsin, I can look out my window and there's robins all the time out there, grabbing and grabbing worms, but I'm always drawn to that bright orange chest on the male. Reason number 3, or I skipped that, color is a Jedi mind trick. Well, not really, but it is something that if you understand what colors truly mean, you can find that, and I'll talk about this at the very end, but you can understand, let's take white. White signals cleanliness, it signals, it's just got a very authoritative feel to it. So if you understand that, you can use it to your advantage. And number 4, understanding colors makes shopping easier. So step 2, understanding color as it affects you. So the effect of complexion and contrast. Now here's a picture of Alain Delon, and he was a famous French actor. And look at this picture of him. We are drawn to what? To his face, because he's got the dark hair, the dark colored shirt. Look at me, what I'm wearing today. So I'm in a camp shirt. This is a shirt made for me by my friend Raphael down at D Accord in Miami, Florida. And he actually makes Waya Bears as well. But look at the dark color here. Got a little bit of embroidery right here on the sides, double pockets. But you're drawn to my face, even though I've got this light background. I know it's bad, but you're still drawn to my face because I've got the dark hair, the dark shirt, and it's like a picture frame. So color enables you to do things like that. And I talk about the three types of contrast. There's the high contrast man, the low contrast man, and the medium contrast man. High contrast men, you've got light colored skin, dark hair. Medium contrast like me, I've got medium skin, dark hair, but not, black or anything. And then you've got low contrast men, and they usually have lighter colored hair with lighter colored skin. Even, unless you're really, let's say East African, then oftentimes those gentlemen from the Ivory Coast area have sometimes very, very, very dark skin along almost the same color as their hair. So in that case, they would be low contrast as well. But African American style, I'm not going to go down that path. It's something that a gentleman of mine named, or a friend of mine named Grant Harris, we've actually written, and sorry about that. We talk about how that applies, and it's got its own set of rules. So we're coming out actually with a style book specifically for the black man. Okay. So discovering your contrast. A great way to do this is to use a grayscale. So if you fall, your hair is over here and your skin is over here, you're going to be high contrast. However, if your hair is here and your skin is here, you're going to be medium contrast. However, if you have really light colored hair, light colored skin, you're going to be low contrast. And the effect of skin color. So we get into here and we talk about a little bit of what I've already covered. The interesting thing I cover here is skin tone. So that's something a lot of people think that they're drawn to certain colors. Actually, what it is their skin tone draws them to either warm or cool colors. So this is something that's a little hard for most men to grasp, but think of it this way. You are either, if you're a cool toned person, you basically blue is the undertone. If you are a warm toned person, you're going to have colors like orange and red and yellow as your warm undertones. And that's going to affect, what type of red looks best on you. So you could actually, both of these men, and I show two examples here. The man here at the right here, he is warm toned, while the gentleman over here, Jay-Z, he is cool toned. And so they can wear, in a sense, the same colors, but they're going to want to wear different hues of the same color. I know this is a lot of detail, guys. That's why I've got this 41-page ebook. I go into a lot more there. Now let's talk about eye color. I always think that a gentleman with blue eyes, green eyes, or even dark colored eyes, this is really where you want people to look. When you're talking with somebody, you want them looking right in your eyes. So if you have blue eyes, make sure to wear a shirt a lot of times which reflects that color, because what that does is it draws out. The same, again, picture of Alain Delon a little bit later on in life, and he had very piercing blue eyes, and he used his clothing to even draw those out even more. So if you've got, green or hazel, look to somehow bring that out by bringing some of that into your clothing. Effect of hair color with what you're going to be wearing. Now, George Clooney is an interesting example. Let's look at George Clooney 15 years ago. He actually had black hair. He wasn't graying. Nowadays, he's graying. And George is really smart. Kind of like Fred Astaire did, 50 years ago. George realizes that, okay, my colors are going to need to change. So here he's wearing a medium gray suit with actually a black shirt, but that medium gray works much better with his gray hair. So again, he's framing his face by properly using color. And we've got, putting it all together, we've got these gentlemen here. I don't know who they are exactly. I know some of you guys can tell me in the comments. But what I really like here is you've got three different styles, three uses of color. None of this one over to the right, a little bit more flamboyant, but all of them perfectly fine for what they do as entertainers, and all of these did a great job here. Okay, so part 3, an introduction to traditional men's colors. And I think a lot of guys, let me stop here really quick. A lot of guys get wrapped around the axle with color because they think that, oh, I've got to bring in purple and orange and red and yellow. Really, guys, 80 to 90% of your wardrobe should be very simple colors. Think of those bright colors as a spice. If you're making something, you don't want to put a whole lot of the spice in there. It just needs to add to the flavor. So I talk about white, gray, navy blue, light blue, brown, indigo, which is with dark colored jeans, black, tan and khaki, gray. Those are the core colors. They should make up 80% to 90% of your wardrobe. Now, understanding color relationships, you're allowed to bring in those brighter colors as spices. Now, I know some of you guys are really big into wearing a lot more of your brighter color, and you can do that. Like this gentleman here, it really gives a younger spring feel, high contrast combinations with complementary colors. It's really jarring to the eye, but it can be used to effect, especially for men who are entertainers, artists, or even students. However, I'm a bigger fan for the professional man of low contrast combinations like we see here, and then you can bring in one or two bold colors as a spice. So I talk about tints, we talk about shades. Tints is where white has been added, shades where black has been added to the colors. And so you see we both see yellows here, but this yellow has black, this yellow has white, and they're going to go for, remember we talked about the hot, the cool complected guys. Okay, understanding patterns and textures. Talk about this briefly. Actually, in my style system, I go into this a lot more, but texture, it's really cool because you can actually wear the same color, what would look like a monotone outfit, but if you change up the texture, you can actually wear those colors together and it really adds to the eye. So what is texture? How is texture created? Well, really quick, I show you how different weaves and how that creates texture. So this has got a little bit of probably a plain weave here. It's got a little bit of, I can see interplay with black and brown, but right here if you look down here at the image, I show you the plain weave, but the pile weave and the twill weave, and other times, actually the satin weave is a great example. So if you think satin, you think something really smooth and shiny, but let's take flannel or tweed. Those use oftentimes a three-dimensional weave, and it causes it to have that soft, almost a napped surface that you want to touch. Step 6, putting it together. I'll skip through this one. It's just got some quick little tips there. But step 7, examples from film. So this is really good because unfortunately I hate to use movie stars as examples, but since there's so many images of them out there, they're often, and because we see contrast, they're the best ones. So look at Colin Farrell, and again, thank you, Corey, over at Corey Burchell Image Consulting. She brought this to my attention, but she did work on the latest movie, what was it, Total Recall, and they really wanted to go, look at this straight color. It's got a little bit of color here, but it's all we're drawn to Colin's, sorry, bring that down. We're drawn to Colin's face here. Now, when I bring this down, look at Colin here. If you guys remember this movie, I haven't watched it yet. Tell me if it's any good in the comments. Terrible Bosses. But they went with this yellow color because they knew on most men it does not complement them. And it really made him look over. I mean, in addition, they put some stuffing in there, but it really made Colin look bad, which is exactly what they wanted to go for. Let's look at Richard Gere. Another example, we can look at a younger Richard Gere when he had brown hair and how that would work for him. And here, the problem with Richard Gere is that he is stuck with the same type of clothing. And you can see with his light colored hair now and his light colored skin, this really is too much. And it looked a lot better when he was a younger man. I would say Richard should start leaning towards lighter colors. Okay, now let's get into Ryan Gosling, a perfect example. You guys should go out and watch his movies. Oh gosh, what was the latest one? Crazy Stupid Love. Great movie when it comes to helping understand how fit and color affect a man's style. But in this middle picture, we can see that Ryan actually is a bit overpowered by the black tie. So he actually looks better in navies and blues. All right, so step 8, we talk about the hidden images and meanings in colors. And really quick, so each color has a meaning. And this is one thing I really recommend to salesmen. They consider colors like brown, which express trust. Black, it actually means you're a good listener and it's an authority color. The same with red. It's a dramatic, self-assured color. And orange. Okay, guys. Well, let me go ahead and step right back to the presentation. And let me go ahead and... All right. So, guys, The style system, August 2012, I'm about to launch it. And if you want a copy of this ebook, again, 41 pages, I highly value, we spent dozens and dozens of hours researching and through my client interaction putting this together. It's a $50 value. I'm offering it free for those of you guys in the links below that go ahead and check out my style system. And those of you that are already on the style system early bird list, you've received this. And it's going to disappear though once the style system registration is closed. All right, guys. This has been Antonio Centeno with Real Men, Real Style. I'll have some more other videos up for you soon, but I'm going to be focusing on putting out the style system, and I hope to either see you in the style system or I'll see you here in more videos. Take care. Bye-bye.